Good morning. I think it's still morning. Oh, shaky, I'm hitting the table. It is Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. Trying to squeak out a quick episode today before I head out to meet the little group that's going to Uganda in the fall. So we're going on another, it's kind of a mission aid trip. I sponsor a couple little girls over there in Uganda and I can't wait to see them again. Anyway, I'm sure I'll talk about this a little bit more, but I'm just trying to get out a little episode because it's the end of April. I'm off work this week. I've been kind of busy. So the last time I had some time off, we had an ice storm and I had no power. So that kind of got in the way of my plans to record an episode. So how are you doing? My name is Milen. I'm coming to you from just outside of Cornwall in Ontario, Canada. I'm going to talk about mostly knitting today, a little bit of spinning. That's probably pretty much it because I'm trying to get this out kind of in a hurry. So as you see, I am wearing a me-made item. This is the Plotalope sweater by Melody Hoffman. It's the second one I knit. My first one was a forest green. So this one is pretty much exactly the same, except that I didn't do the braid detail. I did the eyelet detail around the raglan crease, but I didn't put those details in there in the sleeve cuff or the collar or the at the bottom here. So it's more plain. It's still big. Here you go. With my baggy jeans. Another pair of baggy jeans. Gotta keep the hippie vibe going, right? Yeah, I love this sweater so much that I had to make another one. And I spoke in my last episode that I really wanted a black sweater. So this is it, because it's, the Plotalope is reasonably priced. In Canadian dollars, I think it cost me $87. Where did I buy my yarn? I'm wondering. That's the Knitting Loft. I got the yarn at the Knitting Loft in Toronto. I made a size 2. Well, I made a size 1. I knit the size 1, but it ended up being the size of a size 2 because my gauge was a little bit bigger than called for in the pattern. I just liked the fabric that I was getting with the needles in the pattern. So my tension is obviously a little bit looser than Melody's. So I knit the size 1 in the hopes of getting a size 2. As you can plainly see, it's very large and oversized, but I get compliments on this sweater all the time. I used 6 skeins. So I believe the pattern calls for 7 or 8 skeins or plates, but I only used 6. So I have an extra plate that I will be using. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So the other item that I finished is my Hiraeth shawl. Let me just pull that up because I used a needle size that was slightly bigger than called for in the pattern. I think it calls for a 4.5 millimeter, which would be, I think, a 7. But I used a size 8, which is a 5 millimeter because my 4.5s were on another project. And this shawl is it's a mammoth, literally. Look how beautiful it is though, right? Isn't it stunning? The details. This is how large it is. I'll stand up and put it on just so you can see because check it out. It hangs down to my knees, but there we go. Now I'm gonna start. This is the part where I start sweating. Sorry. I'm sitting at a kind of a weird angle so you can't see the mess in my kitchen over here. So this yarn is Juniper Moon Farm Patagonia Organic Merino. Lorelei and I got this at Webb's, very reasonably priced. I had it shipped to her house so I could save on shipping. And then I had an excuse to go visit her. So there is currently a knit along for this that Lorelai and I are hosting. I'm keeping track of the hashtag on Instagram, which is Hiraeth along. And the Hiraeth is Hiraeth. And that's a pattern by Claire Walls. It was published in the 52 Weeks of Shawls and is now like an indie pattern. She has it for sale on her Ravelry, which is Flossie, I believe. She has a YouTube channel. Anyway, she's Flossie Knits. So what else can I say about this other than it's huge? It went by pretty fast considering the size. The chart is fairly easily memorizable. So I kind of flew through this one. I'm keeping track of the Instagram hashtag, and I was gonna dye yarn for one person who tagged their project on Instagram. So far, only Lorelai and I have tagged projects on there. So if you're knitting this shawl and you want to participate in the knit along, please go tag, hashtag Hiraeth along in Instagram. And Lorelai also has a Ravelry group and a thread for the Hiraeth shawl. And she is handmade by Lorelai on Ravelry, so go check that out. What else have I finished? I made this little headband. It's out of some hand-dyed yarn. Kind of a good color, right? So this is it's called the headband with a twist. So it's supposed to have a twist in it. I'll show you a picture on the Rav. So it's supposed to look like that. I did make one with a twist, but it was a gift for a friend. And because I had some yarn left over and I really liked the color, I made myself one, but I just didn't make the twist. So I've got this for myself for next year. I guess it's good if you want to leave your hair down, if you want to put your hair up, it works. It's a strand of merino nylon, main yarn, and a silk mohair held together. And it's brioche and it's really lovely. I love it a lot, a lot, a lot. So I made a whole bunch of these because I had lots of leftover yarn. This is Cascade 220 and some silk mohair, or it might be alpaca. I have to find the tag for it because it was just in my leftover bin. So I made some for little kids that are shorter, and then I made a long one for an adult size, and maybe I'll submit for a market in the fall. Who knows? I've got tons of leftovers and I would like to use those up. So maybe I will use them for that. I don't think I've finished anything else other than the sweater, the shawl, and the headband. I have also been working on some Selby mittens that are designed by my friend Mary. She is door stopper. Oh, Mary, sorry, hang on one second, I'll find it. I ended up inheriting my dad's iPad, so it's coming in a little bit handy. So she's Door Stopper Designs. She also works at Wabi Sabi in Ottawa. She sells some project bags, which are really fun, but she designed these mittens. I'll insert a picture of what they'll look like when they're finished. I told her I would test knit these for her in 2022. So we both took the course from, oh, what's her name? I can't remember. I'll insert it here because I'll look it up when I'm editing this video, but we both took the Selby Mitten course, and my design was as lovely as it was. It wasn't fitting properly. It was a little bit short in the hand, so I had to make some modifications. So I was gonna test knit her mittens. So that's where I'm at. I have this much done on the other one. So I'm knitting them at the same time. I decided I was gonna knit up to the thumb and then work on the other one, trying to kind of like do them, you know, concurrently so that when they're done and I don't have second mitten syndrome. The other project I have on the needles, because I didn't want to start anything else, because I really want to get these mittens done for Mary so she can publish her pattern in the fall to get ready for Christmas or winter or whatever. So the other thing I'm knitting is just a pair of socks for the kid. I have a lot of socks. I think I counted them the other day. I think I had 58 pair of socks in my drawer because I did sock laundry last week. So this is just some Patton's Croy sock. I'm doing 2 at a time on 2.25 millimeter needles. And I like to put a little ribbing right under the instep, like under the foot, so it hugs. I've done it a couple of times on his socks and he says he really likes them. So he's on his way down as well, because he's coming to Uganda with me this year. I've been bugging him for a couple of years. Well, I didn't bug him the first year I went, but the second year I went, I wanted him to come, but he wasn't really interested. He was kind of working on his business and all that stuff. But this year he decided to come. So he's on his way for our little lunch meeting, and I told him to bring down the socks that are broken. The socks that have holes or that he's felted by accident. So he's gonna bring those and we'll see what kind of damage I can repair or repurpose the socks. I know my friend Michelle had used hers as kind of like, she drinks out of mason jars, so she would just use them as a sleeve, kind of like cut the foot off and just use the leg as kind of a cozy of some kind. The thing I'm dying to knit, I'm gonna show you guys this because, where is it? In my favorites? Because I'm gonna be using some leftover yarn that I have. I think I put it in my little pea sweater. It's called the Badger and Bloom No. 2, and it's by Anne Vencel. So here, I'm sure there's a better photo of this sweater, but it's beautiful. Actually, my therapist sent me a picture of this. She says, oh, I found this website and I was on it for like 45 minutes and she sent me links for sweaters that she really liked. And I fell in love with that one. So I have yarn in my stash that I can use for this. So I have a leftover plate from my green Lopi sweater, and I have a black plate from this sweater. And then I had a bunch of this in my stash. It's White Buffalo. It's a Canadian yarn, and it's kind of like the Plotalope. It's like it comes in a plate. I don't know what this little, I'll give that to the squirrels, I think, or the birds. But it's got 6, is it 5 or 6 strands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. So I already broke one of these apart. So I have 6 little balls over here, so that I can make that. At least the Plotalope is a single strand, so it's not a pain, but this is what I did one day. Well, one of the days that I had no power. I just had one end on the chair and then all the balls on another chair across the room. So I would do all the balls and then I would move the plate. And then I would do all the balls and move the plate. So I definitely got my steps in. I did do some spinning, but I don't think I'm going to show you guys that this time because it's still on my wheel. I plied it last night. It's on my jumbo bobbin. So I'm just show you that next time. By then it'll be blocked, soaked and set, and probably better looking. So other than that, I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to talk about. I always think of all these things I want to talk to you guys about, and then I forget. I should really write them down. I've been reading a lot of books. I'm kind of addicted. I always have, I have one audio and one physical book on the go. And I just read The Green Mile. So it's a Stephen King book. It's was then made into a movie with Tom Hanks and a couple of other actors and actresses that we would know. So I bought this book in the 90s when it initially came out, and it came out in 6 installments, which was kind of like mini torture back in the day because you would read one book and then you had to wait a whole month before the next one came out. So I had this in 6 books and I just read them in the last week. And I love that book so much. It's not, Stephen King has some weird ideas. I read Gerald's Game last year. Oh, so weird. but engaging still, right? He's an engaging writer. He's such a good writer. But this one is not, there's no weirdness. It's, you know, I think everybody knows a little bit about the Green Mile because you've probably seen the movie. And the movie adaptation was very, very good in compared to the book. There's a little, little things that they changed just to make it easier for storytelling purposes in a movie. But I think I cried. The last book was a little bit longer than the others. They're all about between 90 and 100 pages, I guess. But the last one was a little bit longer. But I think I cried the whole last half of the book. It just is so good. Anyway, read it, watch the movie, whatever. It's amazing. Another cool thing that I did last week was I went to see Elizabeth Gilbert. She is the author of Eat, Pray, Love and a bunch of other books, but I think she's probably mostly known for Eat, Pray, Love, which was turned into a movie with Julia Roberts. She is a stellar speaker. I couldn't believe it. She said some really cool stuff. She told us stories, and then she had a little Q&A at the end, and I was blown away at how quickly she thinks. I don't know. I'm a slow thinker, right? If somebody asks me a question, sometimes it takes me a really long time to answer, unless it's just like a fact-based or a knitting question, actually. But a lot of these questions were kind of like big questions. And she would acknowledge the question, she would kind of tell a story that tied into her answer, which was so fun. I think I left there an enriched person. Anyway, I love her book, Big Magic. So this was kind of the basis for her chat, I guess. It was regarding creativity and women and doing what we love, all that stuff. So really awesome. And then yesterday I had some plans fall through. So it gave me the opportunity to sit in on the Art of Living by Matthew McConaughey. It's been all over Instagram and it was free. So I sat and I watched this for 5 hours yesterday. And it was so amazing. It was like motivation in a bottle. And I had a big drink of it and it's awesome. There's a couple of really good speakers in there. There's a Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, who's like a big motivator business person. So it was really interesting. I love Matthew McConaughey. He's the Green Lights book that he wrote a couple of years ago. Loved it. I've already read it, but I'm buying my own copy so I can like scribble all over it. I'm really excited about going back to Uganda because I sponsor these 2 little girls. And I haven't seen them since 2019, and they're so big. They're so big now. They both just had birthdays, so I sent my contact every year. I send my contact a little bit of money so she can get them a cake and sweets for their friends and all that stuff. And I have like a little birthday party. So they turned 10 and 11. So they're probably gonna be as tall as I am by the time I get there. But I remember the last time I was there, they were just like little, right? The first year was Betty, the oldest. She'd fall asleep on me all the time and drool on me, and it was funny. And then the following year, her little sister was in the program that, like the school where we went, and I got to meet her, and she was only 4 or 5 at the time, maybe 2019. That's 4 years ago. So she just turned 10. So she would have been 5 or 6, but she was pretty small too. So I can't wait to see them. Can't wait for the trip. I really like Uganda. It's really hot. I have never been in the fall though. I've always been January, February. So it's going to be a little bit different. Apparently the mosquitoes are really terrible at that time of year. So gotta get my malaria meds and yeah. So we're gonna go talk about that. I should probably hit the road because We're meeting in 20 minutes, and that's about how long it takes me to drive to town. So I hope you're having a great week. And if you have any questions about the knit along, put them in the comments. And yeah, that's about it. Go make something today. Okay? Bye.